bad, I must say. Keep it up.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Here we go again.
Heck. Are you still alive? What the hell? There you go.
Not really.
So, like,
And they live.
that's something to really take in. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about DPS Fina. I really wanted to make this character a DPS unit. I'm sure some of you also want to run around with this character as a DPS unit. I apologize about the speed in which I'm putting out videos. I know it's been a while and I haven't really been making any kind of guide like I said I was in the beginning. It's just very difficult to because of how the Demon Wedge grind is set up. So in short, not to waste all of your time here, I'm thinking about doing a two-part series in which I just get the character like showcase, like throw on some initial mods, kind of like what I did with Rebecca in the beginning of the game, right? And then later do like a part two, and the part two is like pretty much when I have the character like maxed out, fleshed out, or if I do any kind of like revisions or overhaul to the build, right? So I actually got a rhythm video that's gonna be coming out soon, or should be relatively soon, but I'm just more hyper focused on maxing rhythm out, but she isn't hyper maxed out yet. She is a little bit different than when you last saw her, but she's cooking. Anyways, so I do want to throw that out there and just let you guys know, like, I never forgot about the game. I'm playing a game every single day, literally, if you can find me over on Twitch. It's just the grind has not been generous to me. So starting off rip, we're just gonna go straight in, and I'm gonna showcase to you guys Fina's Demon Wedges here. So we're gonna just hit C. And oh, real quick, I just want to point something out. Even though the game itself claims that Fina doesn't use skill damage, ignore this entirely. I did some testing with Fina, and I used things like the hunt or whatever. The Typhon mod that reduces your skill damage further to increase your additional damage dealt. Yeah, we went to go and do that, and I don't know if there's something wrong with that module or whatnot, but it actually nerfs her damage and overall performance significantly. All of her skills and stuff like that, they even tell you specifically they scale off skill damage. So the coordinated attack damage that she's going to be doing is skill damage oriented, and I just want to throw it out there. Also, the passive buff she's going to give to herself is also skill damage oriented. I don't know what's going on with the devs there, but just want to throw it out there for anyone who's like, hey, I'm just going to ignore skill damage, okay? Skill damage is important, so you kind of want to get this pretty high up. Off rip here, let me see. Do I have my, oh yeah, here goes my no skill damage build that I was testing out against, right? And here goes the main one. So this is the main build we're going to be looking at. So for our bossing setup or anything like that, just overall DPS, so we are going to run her on a Morel set. So I have Morel here. We do have wildlife. As you can see, I only have the purple version on, not even the gold version to get even more attack and stuff like that. So if you have the gold variations of any of these demon wedges, by all means replace them. Your performance will look better than my performance. So run a Morel. Morel is simply because, you know, the higher HP, it's like another multiplier to your overall damage. So Morel is actually kind of important here. It does actually work for Fina. So we're getting as much damage amps as possible right now. So I got Morel stacked in. Wildfire stacked in for skill range, attack percent, skill damage. I want more skill range so that way if I'm fighting any of the bosses or if I'm mobbing, whatever the case may be, if you decide to alternate the build, her AoE, that also does damage too. So having skill range there is actually kind of important for me because I want that to also hurt the target and like they can't just walk out of it. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm in a boss arena, I want the boss to take as much damage as possible. So I could do duration, but sometimes depending on what kind of boss it is, they could easily like hop out, move out, all that stuff like that. So yeah, duration's important, but you can always just spam her E skill if you didn't know, and it'll just reset the timer on her duration. So you just gotta be mindful of that with this kind of build. Moving on, we do have Gleaming Assault Rifle. I decided to go with Gleaming Assault Rifle, mainly because she's proficient with AR, so that means she gets like an extra, I think, 20% boost to AR damage and stuff like that. So when willing like an AR weapon or anything. So we run Gleaming Assault Rifle for her. I don't have it maxed out as of right now. Ignore my phone. Let me turn that off. Just gonna turn this off real quick. Apologies. I hate distractions. I have ADHD. Anyways, so Yeah, so Gleaming is sorrowful because she scales 20% to her AR and stuff like that, so she does more damage there. We're gonna throw our teammates onto the sorrowful as well. Scorch, 96% attack percent. Unfortunately, the way the current demon wedges are set up, I can only realistically slap on Scorch. There isn't much out there to help get her attack up further that I would really like to help her do big bonking damage, right? So I only have the purple version of Scorch on right now because I think the gold version only have one, and they haven't done the update in which you can have multiple different Scorch mods. I was playing around multiple different Scorch mods at the time, and it it was like, all right. Um, Anyways, moving next. So Wings of Inspo. This is really important for the build. Definitely recommend you go out of your way to go get this. If you're not TR 16, you can't farm this yet. I think the blue one will still kind of suffice. You might suffer a little bit inside your build, to be honest. But yeah, this is really important, man. The max sanity and the skill efficiency is huge, right? You kind of need this for the DPS because her ability has a draining effect. So because it's a draining effect, as well as how like massive the cost is and how often you're gonna be spamming your E skill to keep uptime on a duration. Um, this is really, really, really important. This is gonna just make it a lot easier for you to get that damage out. Without this, your build's kind of just chopped. I'm not gonna lie. And unfortunately, you probably won't get as much fun out of Fina as you would initially like and hope. All right, Prismatic Neon. This is another one we're running. We're running Prismatic Neon because when enemies near a Lumino character take weapon damage, crit chance increases by 32.7% and it gains an additional 8.2% against targets with debuffs, right? So this is really, really, really huge because we are a weapon platformer, because we are actually trying to up our damage overall and crit chance. We're running high crit based weapons in general. So this helps me get that over crit. And I really want a lot of over crit. If you don't know what over crit is, when you have any crit rate over 100%, the excess crit rate eventually increases your crit level. And I think, I don't know exactly the exact amount. If I had to guess, it's probably something like Warframe where it's like 150 or 200%. It's probably like 200%. 200% is probably the amount of crit rate you need in order to actually hit crit level. Um, and it's indicated by exclamation marks. And this will overall increase your crit damage. So we are running this just for the chance to get over crit. All right, just want to throw it out there. This won't feel as important right now until you're probably like higher in introns, but depending on your weapon build, depending on what kind of bust you got, like you run like a Daphne because you don't have truffle, whatever the case may be, you might actually be able to hit that over crit level. But this is huge. I do got to farm up more of this. I'm hoping by the time I get this maxed out, that jumps up to like 64, 65% or something like that. Um, we'll see how that works. Next, we got duel. Now, duel is super important, as you guys know, when doing any kind of bossing. If you're bossing like crazy, and that's what you're trying to use your DPS Fina for, duel is going to be your best friend. When facing less than 2 enemies, you get a massive 40% damage dealt. This is what makes all of our damage to seem like it's absolutely insane. And again, with that constant AoE we got from Wildfire going on there, and how bosses can't really get out, I'm doing so much damage to them on top of the fact that I have Gleaming Assault Rifle, which is also helping me get a 30% extra damage dealt. So in total, I'm at like 100% damage dealt to the target, and I'm doing an insane amount of damage. And as you can see, both of them are not even maxed out yet. So it's really, 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 really nice. Do recommend this one. Now, I do have on Nirvana's Volition. You're probably wondering, why do I have Nirvana's Volition on? I have this on for the skill damage because I'm trying to get a boost overall to the rest of her abilities to up her damage. This is what I'm currently running on my Fina. This is what's currently been working really well for me. I did try to double dip with Scorch at one point, and I didn't really feel like it was shredding as fast. It might change with the purples, but at the same time, the same thing can probably be said with Nirvana Volition. Maybe. I don't know. Outside of bossing, though, we actually going to change duel off. And personally, I like using things like Onslaught because Onslaught decreases the damage she takes, as well as increases her attack by 150%, essentially when maxed out, um, for 30 seconds, every time you get a kill. So this helps this little number here jump up, lets her do some bigger damage numbers inside group case scenarios. So that's why I kind of like Onslaught. But if you don't want to do Onslaught and you still want to get some more damage dealt, you could do something like Trapped. I think after a while, you're probably going to start realizing, all right, this isn't really working out too much. So I'm going to say use Onslaught. Onslaught is going to be like a good friend for you when you get the first kill or anything like that. You get the damage taken, so you get the tankiness, and you get the attack percent increase, helping this number skyrocket up in the background. All right. Okay. Weapon choices that we are going to be running here. We are going to be running the Wayne's Wraith. Now, this one, do whatever the hell you want. I honestly, I have this weapon on because I'm trying to get the skill damage boost. My Wayne's Wraith is only like, or Wayne's Wraith, sorry, or Wrath, whatever. You know what I mean. Wayne Wraith, Wayne. We're just gonna call it Wayne. I don't care. My Wayne is only like smelt level 1, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, smelt 1. So I don't have a lot of skill damage on it right now. If you are fortunate enough, if you're like someone who is already like abusing this weapon like crazy, maybe you already have it like smelt 5. So your Fina should be doing even more damage than my Fina by far. But I do recommend this one. We have this on just for the skill damage stat stick to help out our additional damage and also help our DPS stacks. For the actual demon wedges I have on it, though, in case you run out of ammo, because that's like Fina's biggest issue when it comes to bossing. Because she is basically like a weapon platformer, she runs out of ammo, like a lot, and it just doesn't feel good. So we got Swift Momentum on, obvious reasons just to move around the map, whatever the case may be, if I'm like farming, whatever. And it's just a really generic setup, right, that I use for like all of my characters. I do have Impetus Focus on for the attack percent and the crit chance. Putting the crit chance up to 84.75%. Actually isn't bad again because of our mod on our Fina. Then we have Focus on for more crit chance. We have Utmost on. Again, Utmost for each combo level that we get, it increases our crit chance by another 20%. And that's going to help me get more crit damage in the long run because I can over crit. You know, that's the whole point. Piercing Ascent as well for the faster movement and the stat stick of the crit chance of 40%. We do have Celerity on because that's a DPS increase. The faster you attack, the more damage that you're doing. You know, it doesn't matter if someone's hitting like 100,000, if I'm doing like 60,000, right? But I'm doing 60,000 like every 3 hits. Like every 3 hits is like 60,000 damage each, and you're only doing 1 a hit a second for 100,000. I'm out DPS. You know what I'm saying? The number may look smaller, but you're dishing out more damage. So, so celerity is really important. Always throw that on whenever you get the chance. And then we have Impetus here, the regular one for 150% attack. Now, naturally, I would tell you to slap on something like Edge or something like that in the middle of here to not get too much diminishing return. Have both of them on if possible, like all 3 if you really wanted to. So like maybe you probably don't really see the value of the crit chance and you want to throw on Edge. You can get rid of Utmost. That's totally fine. I don't blame you. You can just slap that on there, and now boom, you got more slash attack, right? Slash attack right now kind of needs a buff. It kind of falls off in damage pretty heavily compared to something like Spike. Like Spike does more damage to the shield consistently as well to the HP. One of my friends, Dandy Well, he did a whole video talking about that as well, showcasing this. All right. So moving onwards, we have the Daybreak Hymn. Now, this is the primary weapon of choice that I'm using on Fina, and this is one that I had so much fun with. I love this weapon. Now, this is a weekly weapon. No worries. For anyone who doesn't have the weekly weapon, I do have honorable mentions that I will throw out there. Granted, one of the honorable mentions is a weekly, but I'm pretty sure most of you probably already have it by now. All right. So the Daybreak Hymn is an assault rifle, and it has built-in multi-shot, which is honestly phenomenal. But the main reason why I want this weapon is because of the fact that it has spike attacks. Going off of the statement I just made about the Wayne, the spike attack is really, really, really great. It does more damage to enemies' HP. And because bosses don't necessarily have shields, they just have stance and in health, you actually rip through the boss's HP a lot faster than what you would if you had just simply like a slash, because slash only does its high damage to shields. So just something to throw out there, right? And then, unfortunately, when Slash interacts with HP, for some reason, its damage fall off drops significantly to where it's not as good as like Spike, where Spike is consistent for the most part, even against Shield. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's like a coding error. I don't know. Anyways, so Celerity, we have attack speed on because we want this laser to actually just DPS. Again, the faster I can pump out damage, the better, right? I do have Rage and Trammel on. This is the gold version of the mod. It's pretty all right. You know what I mean? It's nothing crazy. If you got the purple version, I'm only like what 10% higher than you or something like that. It's nothing crazy right now. I do think this one needs kind of like a buff. It's kind of sad to see the gold variation be way too close to the purple variation. They needed to like actually buff this one. This is like the only demon wedge that's kind of like that, right? Um, so don't beat yourself up if you don't have the gold version. You don't need to go and farm out this much. You're totally fine to slap on a purple and save yourself the hassle. Next we have on impetus focus again, attack percent 75%, crit chance 99%. You're gonna notice a trend here. And again, I'm trying to get my crit rate as up as much as possible. It's only at a 51.74% crit chance overall right now, as you can see. So like every other hit is critting, and it's kind of really important. So I do have the help from my weapon to get more crit because it has an insane amount of crit damage. 710% crit damage is actually kind of nice. Just saying. We have fold over multi-shot. This is really huge. The multi-shot stacks with the multi-shot that the weapon innately comes with. So we're already at 2.88. What this essentially means, and I know someone sat there and like there was this whole misconception that beam weapons and flamethrowers or whatever, because flamethrowers are considered beams, that they don't stack with multi-shot, but they do. I actually did a whole session on stream talking about this, showcasing it, and the way it actually works for multi-shot for beam weapons inside this game. Instead of showing multiple hits happening like projectiles, they just automatically just double the number, right? So if you have a multi-shot of 2, your overall damage with the beam is just going to be doubled automatically. They're just going to just 2x it, right? And then if it's 3, it's going to 3x. And we did this. We did it with the mod and without the mod to showcase the different values and numbers, and this is exactly what was going on, right? So if someone says that multi-shot doesn't work for beams, it 100% does. You can go do the testing yourself. I won't have it in this video because this isn't like a debunking video or anything like that. This is a video that just simply is here to showcase DPS Fina. Okay, so moving on to the next section. We have regular impetus here for 150% more attack. We're trying to get this number up as high as possible. So we have that on there. And then I do have penetration. And what blew my mind, right? Because before I wanted to like ignore this and have on like Furious Beam. And I had Furious Beam on for a while, but it wasn't doing as much damage as what this was shredding with. Mainly because I don't have penetration stacked out. So my spike became too low, right? I had too little spike. So I had no choice but to throw both on simultaneously. So I am rocking both impetus and I'm rocking penetration. The only downside is farminess sucks. The blue demon wedge will not drop. It just will not drop. I farmed it for over like 2 hours and I gave up and said screw it. You know what I mean? So this is why this one's only a +5 and why I don't really use this demon wedge a lot across the board on like any other weapon or anything like that. It's just demon wedge farming is honestly terrible right now. Yeah, I just can't get my drops. Next we have regular rage. Obviously get the crit damage up to 710. And then trammel for trigger probability. Okay, so that's our weapons. Now let's talk about teammates and Geniemons. So we're gonna start with Geniemons really quickly. So for me, I'm running a shiny bro boxy. As many of you know, or if you don't know, if you're brand new to my channel, I only used Boxy for the longest time because I never went Geniemon hunting, simply because I was trying to get the shiny bro Boxy. I spend majority of my time farming, so because I'm farming mainly, I haven't had the chance to actually go out of my way to upgrade all this stuff because of how scarce my resources were and all that stuff like that. So I wanted to max my Boxy out first. Now that I have a shiny bro Boxy, I will actually go out of my way now to get the other different Geniemons and start leveling up and using them. So I do have Boxy on. I'm gonna let you know what I do have on Boxy. The only important thing that you need for your Geniemon setup, honestly, for DPS phase is you're gonna need Fierce. Fierce is gonna increase your attack percent. If you have a gold Fierce, I'm pretty sure it's 24% versus the 16% I got at purple right now. Yeah, I'd probably just run Bumblebee, honestly, call it a day. You got more there. You don't really care too much for your max HP unless you really want more survivability, but if everything dies, who cares? All right, so moving back, we're gonna like back out of here now. Again, the only important thing you need on top of your Geniemon is just gonna be Fierce. So if you got Fierce, moving on here, we're gonna talk about combat partners. Combat partners, we're gonna run our good old fashioned. We're gonna run Truffle, and we're gonna be running Tabby.
Are you taking
Truffle and Tabby are going to be your best friends for Fina. But if you depend on when you start a game or however much effort or farming you put in so far, if you don't have Tabby, if you don't have Truffle, right? That's totally fine. I recommend getting Tabby at the very least if you don't want to get Truffle, because a character that you can get that's really great to replace Truffle with is going to be Margie.
Where are we heading for today's haul?
Margie gives you like an 85% attack boost. It's not anything as crazy as Truffle, but Margie, still, that's a lot of attack boost, so it's almost equivalent to, right? Almost equivalent to. It's probably going to be like the best secondary option you'll have. Tabby is really important because Tabby offers skill damage, and the skill damage increase that Tabby is going to provide for you is very, very, very important, again, for that whole additional damage that you need. And Tabby will always pop her abilities no matter what. Her AI is just built to just pop her ability. So you'll always get that ability boost. This is what my skills look like on Tabby. I have level 8 on my buffs, level 6, level 6. These aren't anything crazy, right? You don't really need this one too much. You can kind of ignore these aspects. You can ignore this, but definitely buff this, right? This right here is the main one you want for the skill damage boost. And then I'm pretty sure this is just for Tabby herself. You just want to unlock this other skill damage boost here for the 8%. So upgrade this to then go down this chain, get this skill damage, and after that, you're set. So level 8 here, unlock this one. If you decide you want to level this up further for Tabby, by all means, feel free to do so. Tabby is now no longer a weekly. She's now a standard unit by the time I'm recording this video. So you can actually go out of your way and farm more of these Introns. And if you don't want to farm too much of it, I would probably just get I think Tabitha's specialty is her passive. Yeah. So you can get her Intron 3 and then stop there for the +2 at level 8. So you can technically have like a level 10 buff instead and get more skill damage boost increase. That's where I'd go for Tabby. As far as the Demon Wedges Tabby has on, we are running Frosty Turret. And the reason why we're running Frosty Turret is mainly because when a Hydro character uses a skill, the user and nearby allies gain an attack increase equal to 11.4% of the user's attack. So, and you get up to like 275, right? So we do have to up my Hydro attack a little bit more. I haven't really done it. I have Blaze on right now to increase my attack a little bit higher, right? And I am running Uplift. I did get lucky enough to get another upgrade for it, so my uplift is a little bit higher than most. It's at 13% versus the 11%. So Tabby's gonna be my uplifter. We do have the Spectrum Blaze and all that stuff like that or whatever, just so I can try to get the attack percent up. You know, we're trying to up Tabby's attack, and yeah, that's essentially all she wrote, right? Backing out of here from Tabby now, we are gonna actually now look at Margie. Margie, because Tabby's going to be our uplifter, for people who decide to run Margie, all you need is Serenity on Margie. She has nothing else that's really going to benefit you, really. And you could just leave it at that, right? That's literally it. Margie's just going to be Serenity. That's it. You can make Margie do damage if you really want to, but there you go. Important things, you can slap on any AR on them, so any other spear, sorry for using it, whether it's Osteo Breaker, whatever the case may be, just throw it on, who cares? We're only using it for a stat stick. Right? They're not meant to do damage. It's mainly going to be Fina that's doing all the damage, right? So if you're curious why I haven't gone over what weapon they're going to be using, we don't care about that. Just throw any AR that you have, any assault rifle, and yeah, so you can get that damage boost off of them. Truffle, though, Truffle is really important, so I want to break Truffle down. So Truffle, I know it says NMO, this was my MO setup, but we changed up quite a bit. You want to get Truffle over 220% skill damage. It's really important that she hits a 220 mark. So now her AI doesn't think she's a healer and thinks of her more as a DPS and spams her skill a lot more. So you kind of want to slap on your Volition. You want to slap on as much skill damage as humanly possible to get her to that threshold of 220%. I don't know right now why I say it's 218.8. I normally have her at her 220% right now, but it is what it is. So once you have that there, another important thing for Truffle is her I2. And then if you are running Truffle with Tabby, I do recommend having her on Serenity as well because again, Truffle's going to be your uplift, so it's really important to just slap her on Serenity or something. Um, moving onward, again, I think that's realistically it. I think that's everything for the build, the showcase. Honorable mentions. You run Emblem, for instance, on Fina. The way the multi-hit works, it's actually kind of insane. The way the multi-hit works on this, it keeps procking her skill because it's multiple instances of a hit happening. And with multi-shot, it's even deadlier. So it actually rips through the enemy. The only thing is, the reason why I'm not going to showcase it here, with even though how impressive like Emblem Fluorescence was, is because well, I don't have the damage dealt bow increase on Fina. So if I go back to my Fina here and I show her off, I don't have like gleaming bow, right? I gotta actually start upgrading my gleaming bow. I have one gleaming bow, but it's not upgraded and it's not built, right? So I gotta upgrade this with gleaming bow, upgrade it and stuff like that. I would then recommend slapping on replacing your sidekicks, like your Tabby, your Margie, your Truffle, all of that with gleaming bow as well. If you decide to go to Embla and Fluorescence combo, because it's honestly insane, and it'd probably be a lot better for me in the long run thinking about the build. Um, because of how I suffer from like ammo. When I was using Emblem Fluorescence, it was like I can sit there and attack all day with that thing. Like it has so much ammo, it does so much damage. The shred that it was doing was pretty nice to see at the time, but you can definitely tell that I was missing on a massive portion of damage compared to the AR I was using because of well, one, the 20% additional attack, and then two, the fact that my gleaming AR is almost maxed out. So I definitely need to go back and upgrade a gleaming bow, max that out or whatever. Now I run that on Fina. It'll be a lot better, most likely, anyways. Because it also gives Fina skill damage whenever she's attacking with the bow. So there's that, right? Another honorable mention is going to be the good old fashioned minigun, right? This is a standard weapon that you can farm. I'm trying to find it real quick. This Gatling gun, the Silver White Edict, is actually kind of insane. I highly recommend using this weapon if you don't have any other weapon to mess around with. It's so fun on Fina. It is so fun. If you definitely get multiple smelts of it too, that increases attack speed, it's sensational. And it's also a spike attack weapon. So whenever it hits a boss, it just mows through their HP. It mows through. I don't really have it fully built up right now, but we did take it for a test run for a little while just to see how it was going to do. And believe it or not, it was just doing very well. Very, very, very well. Um, I just need to actually upgrade the weapon, slap on some more demon wedges and everything like that, max it out. I have so many formas, so I could. I'm at 41. So I could. I just haven't yet. I'm heavily debating on it. Let me know if you want to see that video or something like that, or have me work on this, and I'll definitely think about it. Uh, but yeah, it was actually really good. It just again you run into ammo issues where you fall off and you're like Sinner, now you gotta go punch the boss for like an hour, right? So unfortunately, Fina's the main takeaway from Fina is although I'm showcasing the DPS Fina build, it's she does impressive damage. She can kill level 70 bosses perfectly fine. Like I didn't really struggle killing level 70 bosses. I had plenty of damage to instantly shred and mow them down. Level 80, I can take a fat chunk off, and then after that, I'm out of ammo. That was the issue I was running with the level 80 bosses. It just comes into like I think I got what's her name? I got Sybil to like 50% HP or something like that, and I was just like really struggling on the ammo department. So I do hope that we get a buff to guns ammo types or whatever the case may be, or maybe when I hit trial rank 65, I'll have enough damage to just instantly one phase it. That's gonna be a complaint in and of itself. Not trying to sound like a negative Nancy, but I do want to talk about the trial rank system. If you are someone who's low trial rank and you're kind of like being lazy about it, I don't blame you. But honestly, if you want to make any of this possible, the sad truth is you're gonna have to actually increase your trial rank. Majority of this game's damage revolves around trial rank. I'm gonna save this whole rant for another video. But if you enjoyed this video, I'm sorry for how choppy it was. There was so much to talk about, and I am super tired. I'm super, super, super tired again. But if you guys ever want to hang out, you can find me over on Twitch. wont.tv. Link will be in the description below. We can chop it up there. Let me know who you want to see next. Again, I'm probably going to start doing like a part 1 and part 2 video. And part 1 is going to be like an initial introduction of the character. So my other videos won't be as long as this video, but they'll probably be more just straight to the point. And then part 2s would probably be like more of like if anything changed. Part 3s, if it depending on how it goes, I'll probably put like version updates of each character, you know, new build, all that stuff like that. I just don't want to pump out half-hearted content. We had to reevaluate everything in the game initially. Anyways, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.